Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Hey, gang. 99.1 WDJY Atlanta, WTAN, WDCF will be joining us shortly in the Tampa Bay region. We're done for a little bit. Or are we? Look at that. Bring me up. Camera, there we go. We're done for a little bit, or are we? Today we're going to talk about what went wrong. Put a microphone actually in front of my face. Especially in front of my face, so you can't see me. We're going to talk about what went wrong. We're going to talk about what went right. We're going to make a little bit of fun of ourselves and everything else, because we've got a guest today. Comedian Jeff Klein is going to join. I don't know if Matt's here. There he is. Wow, right on cue. So everybody's here. It's 11:03, about to be, there it is, 11:04. We got 2 more minutes, and WTAN's going to join. Let's bring out the other guys just to talk quickly for 2 quick minutes. And, yep, there he is, blowing his nose.
As am I going to be throughout this show.
Yeah, how are you feeling? You've been throwing up the other day.
Still sick. I've got a sinus infection now, so fun.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So I've kind of felt crummy since 5 a.m. Tuesday morning, so I'm feeling a little better today. But
Matt, well done. I mean, you did what you could. I got some questions about that. I don't know what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say, but we'll get to that in a couple of minutes.
Oh, we can't hear you, Matt.
Nope, still nothing. Did I mute you last time or something? What happened? No, you're up.
Well, maybe at some point we will get Matt's audio. Oh,
It's my AirPods right now, but I'm trying to get my microphone to work, and I don't know why. I'm trying to use something else so I can use my good camera. But
now I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay.
You're wearing Green Lantern. I would have worn Batman if I would have known. We could have done a Justice League thing or something.
Yeah, I'm already hearing some things that are rough. Like some people that aren't safe, feeling that they're not safe, being. Yeah, well, I'll show you what I got.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, like I think a lot of that is, what they do this every time. I mean, like there's a portion of the left that says, I'm gonna have to leave the country, or I'm not gonna be safe.
No, I mean, this is a little bit more than that.
All right, I mean, I'm willing to. Like, I don't like Donald Trump. I think he is dangerous. I think he is gonna go after.
This is Tampa Bay's 10 Talk.
Hey, gang.
Can you hear me, guys?
WDN, WDCF, welcome. You're going up the middle. We got a little bit of a start already, but we'll get you caught up. Today, we're going to be talking about what went wrong and what went right for the two campaigns. Also, to lighten things up a little bit, we've been serious for months about all of this. So I brought in a guest. Back in August, I was on we have to ask him. We were on a show together, the Tampa NPR station. And I forget what it is. I'll ask him when he comes out. And it was just a fun night. It was like midnight to like 3 a.m. Just a bunch of gays goofing around. And that was before he did the recording for what is now coming out. I don't know if I uploaded that. I got to do that. Let's bring him out. Let him talk about
those damn goofy gays.
Yeah, we're crazy. Comedian Jeff Klein is joining today, and he is releasing his very first studio album of sorts. Self-studioed, like we're self-syndicated, same deal. The Fatty Gay, and that's the overlay that I thought I uploaded already. So I'm gonna find that quick.
That's the name of the album.
It's not the name of the album. I don't know why he's calling me that. That's just hurtful.
That's just rude.
Oh, shut that up. That's all over your Facebook.
It's the name of the special is called Fatty.
I'm trying to find the thing.
Fatty,
it's not the name of the album.
I'm like, Fatty Gay, just FYI, I don't think that your input is your microphone.
It's not. It's coming off of the AirPods.
Sounds like
it.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, if I was tech savvy,
I had the same problem about 2 seconds ago, just FYI, and I had to figure that out.
All right. Well, I'm a comedian, not smart, but let me see what I can fix real quick. Audio. Yeah, it is. 1 second.
Interviews. There it was. There we go. All right, that's uploading. We'll see that in a second. We'll see the album cover. Oh, yeah, is it, covers all of us. Awesome.
Well, that's what the gays do. And the fatties.
Yeah. Let's, I can see this. Blake's going to be giggling for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, he's a comedian.
How dare you laugh at a comic?
How could you?
Yeah, that's not cool anymore. Remember when comics were allowed to be funny?
All right. I changed my audio input. Does it sound better?
Oh, that's good.
Everybody?
Sounds the same to me, but it sounds okay. It's not like I can't.
Fine.
That's what I shoot for. It's fine. So
it's okay.
If that's what you're looking for in a comedy special, check out me because it's fine.
So you filmed that 2 locations here in the Tampa Bay area, right?
1 location, 2 nights a week apart, just to make life as hard as I could on myself. Yeah.
There we go.
And shot that before the election, and going to release it after the election, and obviously everything's going to go amazing.
What could you talk about before? Obviously you didn't know the results that we just learned this past week, but how did you plan for that?
The the thought process that I plan for anything is adorable. I don't know. If I shot it after the election, there'd be more crying during it. I don't know. Or there's certain jokes that are funny prior, and then maybe afterwards you're like, oh well. As I mock myself as a Democrat during one of the jokes, I was like, oh well, that's going to hit differently now, and maybe the people that like it and laugh hard at it might be laughing for reasons I don't love. But
Yeah.
that's what art is. And did
Yeah,
I just call
and
my
that's-
comedy art? Yes, because I'm pretentious.
Of course. Well, I mean, also, yeah, you can laugh if you can laugh at yourself. Yeah, I've done that, and that's what prevents these two from busting on me sometimes, because their whole thought process is, "Wow, he just said that about himself. Imagine what he'd say about either one of us." And they just sit there and behave, and we get on with the show. Not really, but
Got to be self-deprecating. There's just
Yeah.
come on. It's
Yeah.
no one should take themselves too seriously.
exactly.
That's generally my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I come to with comedy. If I'm the butt of the joke, I'm not punching down on anybody because you can't punch down on yourself. So all of my jokes should be safe in that sense.
So, what did you get any Trumper run-ins or
Not
any heckling?
since that. Trump's been around forever, but politically since what 2016, so just a little bit prior. So in doing comedy, have I had Trumper run-ins? Absolutely. But that's kind of what happens when, and from what I've been given a heads up, nobody's a real pro-Trump fan necessarily here, and I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm talking specifically about Trump. But when you spout the rhetoric that you spout and you get the followers following that rhetoric, it makes people feel emboldened to be able to say things maybe they weren't saying prior. So not that they weren't thinking it prior, not that they weren't feeling it prior, but emboldened to be able to say things. And yeah, absolutely, you run into that in audiences. I mean, I do comedy in Florida. Of course I run into that.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the things that he did was he made hate legal. We were talking just before going on the air about some of the so-called scare tactics or some of the things that are making things dangerous. I've got a lady friend of mine, a girlfriend, who has a daughter that's come home saying that she's being taunted by the guys in her high school, saying that they own her based on them protecting women, whether they like it or not. And I was just like, he's not even being briefed on all the things going on in the country yet. And that's happening already.
Yeah, I think to blame Trump squarely for that is a bit of a stretch. I think it's more to do with us siloing into only people that are like us. Like, I think that's the bigger problem. I think that's been going on for a couple decades now. Is where it's like, oh, well, you don't want to be in a red state anymore, you move to a blue state, or and it's just like we surround ourselves with people that are just like us so that we don't have any butt up against someone. And so it's a lot easier to say those things about other people when they're not like your neighbor or your friend, or I'm not saying Donald Trump didn't add some permission structure to it for sure, but I do think this is a problem with just kind of like the siloing of people into their own little media groups and their own little friend groups, and not really having anyone else around them that will possibly, like, they don't know anyone that and it, like the red and blue thing alone. I think that most people don't have any, if they're Republicans, they don't have any Democrat friends. And if they're Democrats, they don't have any Republican friends. I think that alone is a pretty bad place to start.
Well, Blake, by the way, is our resident Republican. He is the homeless conservative. You can get him at thehomelessconservative.com and wherever you get podcasts. So if anybody today does any defense of Trump, you can expect it from that corner of the screen.
Hey, I'm not a Trump guy. You got 100%.
That's hence the name, the homeless conservative.
Do not like Trump at all.
Yeah.
Haven't since he walked down the golden escalator. Because he's not conservative. But Yeah, but I mean, I'm also going to defend anyone that like. I just think that some of the charges that we lay at people are a little extreme sometimes.
Well,
Matt, you're not, and Matt is our Democrat. He just ran for Congress in the 7th District of Ohio, sadly, unsuccessfully. But, we're glad to have him back here. That's kind of the positive thing about it. But still, I'd rather see him in Congress.
It was all about you, Russ. I was like, man, at least if I lose, I can come back on this show.
That's right. One day a week.
This was the silver lining of my gray cloud. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. He's also the host of the Daily Crypto News, also found on Yerg's Radio. And you can go back to downloading that more frequently, especially with Bitcoin bouncing around. But if anybody's more hateful of Trump here in the group, it's going to be the two of us.
Because I'm pretty sure you take the
cake. You take the cake, sir. I'm sorry.
Competing with you.
No, man, no. You are TDS to a T.
Yeah, no one's.
Speaking of projection, TDS. All right, so you did 2 nights throughout the Tampa Bay in the same place to do your special that's coming out. When is it actually released? Where can we get it? And
these are great questions. So I finished editing it because I'm doing as much of it myself as possible because I'm poor. Thanks to Trump. Not smart to blame somebody. And it's done being edited, which is great. I'm shopping it to a couple places, which would be great if they were like, yes, we love it, we should buy it. But barring that happening, by the end of this month, it'll be out on Amazon. I'll just promote it, upload it on Amazon, and it'll be available for anybody with Amazon account, Amazon Prime, etc. So by Thanksgiving, people will be able to watch it with their mixed families politically, to be able to watch Family Gay. And I think that's really what the holidays are about.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
Finally getting around to talking about the politics we should have talked about 6 or 8 years ago.
I mean, it's that or watching the Lions on Thanksgiving Day, right? I mean,
yeah, and I mean we know, listen, if you want something less scripted, watch my special and not the NFL, right? I'm just trying to poke a conspiracy where I can.
That's it. So we talked about.
Look, first of all, I just want to chime in there really quick. There's nothing scripted about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's love for each other, sir. And you're being a really Debbie Downer now.
You and I talked about when I saw your announcement that it's going to be available soon. If somebody like me wants to put it on their website as like part of the merch that's available, are you planning on doing certain links like that and promo codes and things of that nature?
Am now, yes. The primary point of it is to try to get it out.
Pat myself on the back for that one.
Yeah, I mean the point of it is more people see it, more people find me as a fan base. Easier it is for me to book around the country, and travel and do comedy more. That's the goal, because the ability to get into clubs and do shows is being able to put butts in seats. So if I want to go do a show in Ohio, I have to have some type of fan base that's going to come out to that. Otherwise, nobody's going to book me. But if you can put butts in seats, they don't even care if you're a good comic. They'll book you. So what I'm trying to do is trying to get that. This is the goal of this, is to get that out there. Less making money and more setting me up to make money.
This is an investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea of somebody being able to buy it as a merch off of your website, and that actually makes quicker money, by all means, I'm not against that either.
Nice.
Of course. I spent my 20s in a band touring around the country, and I've often said I think stand-up comedy is the hardest public performance kind of thing that anyone ever has to do, because you can't fake laughter. There's no the Rolling Stones can go do a tour and they play the hits and everyone loves them and it's fine. But you can't fake, Jerry Seinfeld can go out there and bomb. If he's not funny, people aren't going to laugh. They can't force it. So I've often said I think it's the hardest. I would never ever do it. It sounds terrifying to me.
I actually did it in college, I actually did do stand up in college when I had my radio show there, and it's hard to write the material. I think that's the toughest part, because that stuff that you think is funny at 3:00 in the morning when you're drunk off your ass isn't funny at 9:00 at night in front of straight people and straight and sober people.
But touching on the difference between music and comedy, what I learned quickly was when I came up, I was doing a lot of like mixed open mics. So it'd be like a 14-year, it's at a coffee shop, right? And like a 14-year-old girl with her guitar is singing her breakup song. And everybody's dead silent through it, listening as you should. And then when it gets to the end, it's a big applause, and that's great. And then I'll go up and do a set, and then everybody's dead silent throughout the whole thing.
No, that's not what
applaud.
you do.
Yeah, but they'd applaud at the end, and I'm like, no, don't applaud at the end. None of you laugh during it. It's super pain. It's more insulting getting the applause after.
Yeah,
Well, it's kind of what Joe Rogan said about the Tony Hinchcliffe thing. He's like, never perform comedy in places that aren't comedy clubs. Like, you're just setting yourself up.
Again, why? Whose idea was that? It's a terrible. Everyone on board is this is a bad idea. Yeah.
Which there's a segue. Of all the things that were done right and done wrong during the campaign, my biggest issue with that entire rally is that he comes up with the same BS story when something doesn't go his way and he needs to deflect. Oh, I don't know the guy. I've seen him around the White House for a few times, but that's really it. That's what he said about his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. I don't know the guy. I've seen him around the White House.
He really said that about Jared Kushner?
Yes.
No, he didn't.
I don't think that's true. You're going to have to cite that story.
He did.
In Trump's defense, I don't know that he pays much attention to anybody but himself.
I think you're right. that is true.
Yeah.
Trump
All
and
right,
Madonna are very much the same.
Yeah, I think you're right in that sense. But I mean, I would be pretty surprised if he didn't. I would like to see that quote, Yergs.
So is Trump the gay or the Republican gay Lady Gaga?
No, because Lady Gaga has talent
and cares about her fans.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's a performance. Lady Gaga is a performance, and
so is his presidency.
No, Trump is authentically himself. It's never a performance. It's all like that is him. He is.
I think what you see on stage of Lady Gaga is the real Lady Gaga.
No, but it's like hype.
Not that she would wear a meat dress to the grocery store.
That's what I'm saying. It's a performance. It's a performance. The best musicians are performers. I mean, like when it comes to that kind of thing, like she's a performer. And the reason we know that is because she was a songwriter for a long time, just behind the wings for forever, before she actually had her own solo career. So, but whereas Trump is just, I think, authentically that ego himself. I mean, to me, there's no. I've never once looked at Trump and been like, oh, he's being handled. Someone told him. I mean, you can tell when he's like staying on the prompter that someone was like, hey, please stay on the prompter. He can barely manage to do that. So I don't think he's performative at all. I think he's not performative. I'm not saying he's not performative. That's not true either. But he is that performative person. I'm saying like he is authentically the ego and wanting to be in the tabloids and wanting to be on TV and like that's him. Like he's really that guy.
I do think he's become the caricature of himself.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah. For sure. He's
just taking him kind of like the Bushisms. When Bush would say something stupid and like they misunderestimate me and people start laughing at that and it kind of gets attention. He starts doing it intentionally, like a 365-degree circle, and all the other stupid things he said. He ran with it. You think the fact that Trump can be whoever he is, he's running with that? Like
I think he's unexplainable. I don't think that anyone, because the people that try to imitate it doesn't work. It hasn't worked for anyone that's tried to imitate Trump. He's handpicked all these people to run for like Senate and House seats and things like that, and it doesn't work. When people try to be Trumpy, it seems inauthentic because they're not Trump. And so I don't see how. I don't think that any of that will translate to other people. It hasn't so far, and I do think
same thing with Obama. Like everybody, it doesn't work with Obama either.
You're right. Yeah. Now, Obama. I think the difference is Obama and like Bill Clinton are talented politicians. Like they are good at knowing. They were always crafting like the thing that they were going to say or how they're going to do. They're good politicians. I think the difference is like people like Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are just like authentically themselves. I think that's why people were attracted to both of them in 2016. I don't think that the policies had that much to do with each other. If you were in one of those like open primary states and you were going, should I vote for Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump? Like you're not looking at the issues or policies or anything. I think you were attracted to, oh, well, that's like, doesn't feel like a normal politician that's lying to me or faking it or something, which is what I've been saying since 2016. I think people learned the wrong lesson and thought that it was about Trump's being bombastic and stuff like that. I don't think that necessarily does it. I think that people just need to be, and I think my concern is that that's what Democrats will look for next. They'll be like, well, in the soul searching after this election, will they be like, do we need a populist demagogue celebrity? It should concern Democrats a lot more than Republicans because Republicans don't have that many celebrities. Democrats have a lot of crazy celebrities that I think could catch fire.
But you have to admit, like, I mean, as much as I will cop to, I think you're right, Trump is being himself out there. I think he's very aware of some of the things he says that people think are like, oh, he didn't know what he was saying there. I think he's, to me, and this is a me thing, I think he's putting in, I don't want to say coded language, but I think he's very aware of how things are being said sometimes. And he's adding in verbiage to rile up certain bases that he knows are going to vote for him. That being said, I think you have to agree that he does grandstand a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's very inauthentic insofar as like when he's across the street and holding up a Bible upside down. The idea that he's religious and all of that is very performative.
Yes, that is
grandstanding, yeah. And you know, when it's all of that type stuff that I do think is completely, and that's when he's probably at his worst, is when it's so inauthentic of him.
Yeah.
That it's almost insulting.
Right. I think you're right, which is like when he tries to talk about policy, it seems fake because he doesn't care about it. Like, I mean, no. you can tell when he doesn't care about something and they're just trying to keep him on message and he hates doing it because he doesn't want it. Like he wants to just say whatever he wants. I mean, he honestly is more like some old Vegas act, like the rallies this year leading up in the kind of campaign. They were much more like kind of like an old vaudeville, kind of like an old. they're weird. It was like he was a stand-up comedian, not a funny one. I don't think. I mean, he is funny sometimes, although I think he's lost an edge on that in the last 8 years. But yeah, I totally agree. He does the performative stuff for sure, and he knows what he's doing.
There we go. We got to take a break. 99.1 WDJY, WTAN, and WDCF. You're listening to Up the Middle. We'll be back with Jeff Klein after this. Video clips. There we go.
Hey, gang, it's Yergs. Do you have a podcast? Of course you do. It's probably one of the reasons why you listen to us. Well, I got something for you. Flowsend.ai. All you do is take your pre-recorded data, click, drag, and drop right into the inbox for Flowsend AI. Click a button, and out comes everything that you're going to need. From the transcript to content, such as keywords, titles for your episode, the timeline, posts for LinkedIn, posts for Twitter, Instagram, other smaller platforms, all the things that it takes you hours to do in literally minutes. So go to flowsend.ai. Tell them Yerg sent you and get your subscription today. Worth every penny. Flowsend.ai.
So we got comedian Jeff Klein with us. And one of the things we'll do, if you get to it, give us a call. 1-888-88-YERGS or 1-844-GAY-LGBT. We do that because of a company called BizPhones for You. B-I-Z, phones, the number 4, the letter U.com. Right here in the Tampa Bay, you get HD phone service, caller ID, call recording, auto attendant, voicemail, anything you need for your business, call forwarding, business text messaging, all of it. Go to bizphonesforyou.com. Get set up. I left another big national company, and they are national, by the way. So for those of you in Atlanta, and where else are we? KSHP. Oh, wow, that's right. Today is our first day on a regular day with KSHP. We were supposed to be there last week. There were some technical issues, so we're there right now. KSHP Las Vegas. Maybe we'll get our guest with his own in-house studio or in-house theater at one of the casinos in Vegas. But if you're a business needing a new phone system, I love this thing already. I've had 2 meetings, just like Zoom, but through this system, it's been amazing. So go to bizphonesforyou.com and Dar Palmer, as in like Arnold, the guy that Trump likes to talk about. He'll take care of you, and you will not regret it. bizphonesforyou.com. All right, let's bring the rest of the crew back out. There's that one. There's the album cover. There we go. And I guess Matt signed off because he's having some technical issues with his internet, so he'll be back soon enough. But yeah, so speaking of Vegas, have you done any bigger arenas, venues yet?
Locally here in the Tampa Bay area, I got to open for somebody at the Stress Center, which was incredible.
Nice.
That was very nice. I have had a chance to do a couple spots in Vegas, little guest spots. One was at Brad Garrett's room out there at the MGM, which is just an absolutely beautiful room. I've gotten lucky to be able to do spots in rooms I never thought I'd be able to. In fact, I was just in Sydney and got to do 4 shows in Sydney, little guest spots and so on. And it was just incredible getting to see kind of the opportunity to do comedy everywhere and see where it hits, where it works, and where it doesn't. And so that was fun.
Very cool. I just got a message from TAN that your mic is actually kind of low. So
yeah, I'll just get it real close to me.
Are you still hearing something, Blake?
Yeah, I'm still hearing something in the background. Someone talking. It's not the tones thing that I was hearing earlier, but
no, that was I just put in KSHP, and we're not on.
Oh, okay.
2 weeks in a row.
Okay, so that was that. Okay.
I don't know what the hell I paid for.
Well, we should probably figure that out.
This isn't that hard. I'm hearing a beep. Maybe we got somebody else back. Nope. Yes. There he is.
There he is.
All right, here I am.
And yeah, you're. It looks like you're sucking your thumb or something.
Am I frozen again?
Yeah, but we got your audio, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, now you're good. We got
whatever. I hate all this.
I think we should all. Do you want to bust on the manager there at KSHP? Like, I think we should just call him on the air and say, "Dude, this is 2 weeks in a row. What the hell?"
Well, what happened?
I don't know.
We're not on Las Vegas.
You're not on in Las Vegas?
I think, and we were supposed to be on the week before the election was when we were supposed to start. Now, the week after the election, we're telling everything about what went wrong with Donald Trump. I don't know. I see a conspiracy theory here. I'm getting funny looks from everybody like, dude, you're reaching. Okay, I'll shut up.
Well, should we talk about that election that happened on Tuesday, by the way?
Yeah. I mean, should I guess, Jeff, you're a Trump supporter?
You guessed accurate. No, obviously not, because I'm gay and poor.
But wait. Are you a Harris supporter? So you don't have to be either or.
True. Actually, I was a Harris supporter. I liked the rhetoric spoke. Here's the thing: anytime when you're getting into politics and so on, but there is a reality that who's actually showing up at LGBT functions, which is such a tiny thing. If you're showing up at the function, you're admitting we exist. Admitting we exist is such a low standard that we keep for people nowadays, but it's still something that is a bar that needs to pass. And I will say, I'll speak for my whole community, Yergs, I got it, is that Harris showed up at events, and that made me hopeful for my rights going forward under a Harris government. So I was, plus besides, what Tim Walz was doing at his high school and creating LGBT straight alliances and all of that, if I was a single kind of policy voter, and that single policy is me having rights and feeling safe, I felt much more safe under Harris Walz presidency. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's close. Like I said earlier, I think Trump legalized hate.
Hold on. Wait. I'm not.
Hate is legal.
I don't want to be the.
It always has been.
Hate is legal. Like, there's nothing illegal about hate.
No, I don't mean like the concept of incredibly and intensely not liking something.
I think he normalized it. We could say that.
I mean, I mean, I don't even want to go into it. What I've heard or what I've read in a group that was created called Safe People right here in my area by parents of kids. One lady said she created her own network of safe people, most of which are from the LGBT community. She's not even gay. She's not a lesbian or trans. We're not a week out of the election. And these people are feeling a need to develop, like, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. I'll be back in an hour. I'll text you. If you don't hear from me, something's happened. You didn't have that during the Biden administration.
Well,
look, I'm just like, this is not me defending Trump. This is me saying, what rights were taken away from you, Yergs, when he was the president the first time?
I was investigated by the Secret Service 3 times during my career by what is our equivalent of internal affairs. 2 happened during the Trump administration.
That's a work thing, though. That's not a...
Yeah, man. What were you doing? If you were blowing lines in the bathroom, I assume that they...
You guys don't know what protections a federal employee has. You can't investigate me just because I'm gay. And I was able to prove both of those investigations came for that reason. When I did that, and I gave them the attorney, the phone number of an attorney in D.C. who works on workplace discrimination, things stopped immediately.
Well, yeah, but that sounds like that's a workplace discrimination problem, not a... I'm not saying that's
right to go to work safely without being threatened of my top secret security clearance taken away, at which point so would go my job. My 6-figure job.
That's fine. I mean, like, maybe that's a legitimate thing. That's fine. I mean, I would like to see how that came directly down from Trump too. But I mean, obviously the secret,
because he put in everybody. It's kind of like a time joke. My fellow gay and comedian would understand this part. You had to be there to get it. But like I said, I was investigated 3 times during the course of my career. The first one wasn't actually by our equivalent to internal affairs. It was by an actual supervisor on the detail that I was on at the time. It was Hillary Clinton's detail. And oddly enough, he's retired down here in the Tampa Bay area too. He went around agent to agent asking blatantly, flat out, if they knew that I was gay and if they were comfortable with that.
Well, yeah, that's not
legal. Do that.
That's not legal.
And that's exactly what upper management did when they tried to disguise it as something else. There was a famous video that happened on TikTok of this kid who just hooked up with a Secret Service agent, and he takes his phone and he does a panoramic selfie of the hotel room with all this Secret Service clothing, Secret Service, police, radios, guns, all this gear and stuff, paperwork, huge violation, sitting in the background, unprotected. The agent wasn't there. And he says, I just hooked up with a Secret Service agent. I start getting phone calls, fellow gay agents, no less. Not, hey, how you doing? Haven't talked to you in a while. Thought I'd check in. Just, was it you? I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't see this video. I wasn't on TikTok. Just, was it you? I get back from the inauguration to a phone call from the SAC. For those of you not in government, SAC stands for Special Agent in Charge. There are two reasons you get a phone call from the SAC. One is good, one is bad. He wasn't calling to say, hey, you're due for retirement. We should have a party for you before you leave. He was calling to tell me internal affairs. Yeah, I know. There's definitely a gay joke. In fact,
holding back the ball from the SAC, Jeff, absolutely.
I'm trying over here. He's like,
Yeah.
I bet you were called by the SAC.
I was like, oh, every time I got a
Were you
nickel
cupping
for
the
every
SAC
time a
while you-
SAC called.
Well, and it was because of this video. And once I got the calls in DC at the inauguration, they sent me, some people sent me a copy of the video.
But wait, what year was this?
2021.
Okay.
January 2021. I retired in November. Pretty much was forced out. I mean, let's call it what it was. I didn't have to retire. But if you're going to put me through stuff like this twice in 4 years, because the first time was when he first came on. I had a Tumblr account that was filled with nothing but gay porn. I didn't have a Tumblr account. I barely had Twitter, and that kicked my ass. And they were saying that I was on this gay porn-filled Tumblr account while I was working. Like, well, that's great and all, but I don't have Tumblr, so it's kind of a problem. And so somebody actually created an account spoofing me. And now I'm getting calls. I don't know if it's Department of Interior or basically whoever investigates Hatch Act violations, because I'm also supporting on this same account Hillary Clinton. Now, fast forward to him and his security room. They're all high-fiving each other when he starts taking the lead over Hillary. Somebody else does an account in my name, and I'm the bad guy. So this Twitter account or this TikTok video comes out during his inauguration or during Biden's inauguration with this kid who just hooked up with some Secret Service agent and left the room so he could film all the gear. Everybody starts calling me saying, dude, is it you? To include internal affairs. They had some credit history stuff that they also were trying to use to actually get to me, which I had resolved. But when they got to the video and they went on and found some picture of me and my then boyfriend, I said, let me stop you right there. I'm not ashamed of who I am or what my boyfriend and I do wherever we do it. It's legal. And the video that you're about to talk about, because I had somebody tell me that was going to be part of it as well, is not me. And if you want to see the photos that I took of my hotel room, which don't have the matching wallpaper, I will happily help you close your investigation right here and now.
Yeah,
They
but
didn't know what to say.
this still all sounds like a work. I mean, the Secret Service has had a lot of problems for the last 20 years. I mean, including.
Wait. I first, I think that we have to. I want to debate Yerg's, but I also want to acknowledge the feelings that he has and how they are going to be affected, and how his life might be affected by current situation. So I don't want to discount or discredit that, Yergs. And I think we should probably establish that. Now we jump on Yergs.
No, I'm jumping on him. I'm saying the service has some problems. Let's like
yeah, absolutely. But I guess while I understand the story, the disconnect I'm hearing here is nothing about hate, but it's kind of like if you saw and
what do you call it?
But if you saw if you have an internal wait let me finish. You already told a half-hour story. Man, between you and Blake, sometimes I should just be the stenographer. But like, so if you see, let's say it's a black guy in there, and you look at the Secret Service, you say, oh, hey, you know what? We have 40% black people. I'm going to ask the black people if they were having sex with the intern in the hotel room. But if you saw it was gay sex, you're like, oh, I wonder if one of the gay guys was having sex. And it's like you're just whittling down to figure out what's happened internally. Like, I don't understand how it was discriminatory.
Because, right, to be fair, they were trying to figure out which Secret Service agent let someone film on TikTok in their hotel room with all.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, oh, hey, that was some gay sex. I wonder who was there. Was it the straight guys? Let me go ask them too. No, you're gonna ask the gay guys.
It's funny you ask that because the guy is a GS-15 supervisor. If you're familiar with the general scale of where all of us federal employees fall, it goes from 1 to 15, 13, which is what I was, a journeyman. As high as I'm going without being a supervisor. 14 is a first line supervisor. And 15 is beginning of middle management. This guy, I figured out who it was. This guy was a GS-15, wife and kids, whole 9 yards. I talked to other gay agents. How many of them were called by Internal Affairs or their SAC? No
stop
SAC.
Say SAC, please.
There you go.
Just stop it.
0. It was me that they were after. Anyway,
by the way, it seems like this GS-15 was called by the SAC.
I'm just saying this. I'm not.
The GS-15 went off scot-free. Nothing happened to him. And by the way, I knew the kid that came down from Pennsylvania that did that video. He's a friend of mine. He stayed with me, and we hooked up too. But I actually know
little slut, wasn't he?
Yeah, he said. Here's the thing: we were doing. I was day shift, so yeah. I mean, gay. Hello, right?
Wait, real quick, Yergs. Would you say that this young person was trying to get to the sack?
You got to a couple sacks.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to get that in there.
Oh my gosh,
he got to a couple.
He called the sack,
but. Yeah, we were the day shift. We were doing 14-hour shifts to give the night shift, who was doing 12-hour shifts, an extra 2 hours. So he's sitting in the hotel room waiting for me to come back. He got bored and hooked up with some GS-15 night shift guy.
Well, if I'm going to jump in, Blake, to answer your question.
Please, yeah. By the way, we have a guest today.
Yeah, it's fine. Yours was just doing a whole a penthouse letter there for you about bragging he hooked up with somebody. And to answer your question about like what rights were lost during the Trump, I think that's what you were going for.
Yeah.
And why would we have fear going into another one if we didn't lose any rights the first one? I will say this, it's less of an immediate thing and more of a when our rights are propped up by a court system currently, and if that court system gives way and puts it to the states, then we run a very real risk of losing rights in states that we live. I'm born and raised in Florida. You think if the Supreme Court wasn't upholding gay marriage, that I could get married in Florida, which is my home state that I'm born and raised in? But I think that's a real fear because in the next 4 years, Trump will probably put on 2 more judges into the Supreme Court, which is now setting up that court system, 3 more judges, that court system for something when a minority group depends on that check and balance to help protect us, knowing that we're going to lose that protection, even regardless of what the nominees say. Because what happened with the abortion rights? The 2 nominees that went in specifically said they weren't going to go back against Roe v. Wade. And then immediately when it came up, they went against what they said. I mean, side note, they said that they said that on the record, in court, saying they wouldn't do that, and then that was a lie. But whatever. So I would say that's
they
where
weren't gonna
some
comment
fear,
on what they would do because they can't comment on a case that they don't actually have in front of them.
right? But I'm just saying
the
they
right answer that
yeah.
every Supreme Court nominee would say, Democrat and Republican, if they get asked by someone, would you overturn this? They go, I'm not answering that question because I don't have that case in front of me. It's not like that's not how this works. A case comes before us and we answer it. So I think that the vilification of the courts has gotten a little out of control by both sides.
Oh, please.
Trump's doing the same thing. They're both vilifying the courts. And I just don't think there's the
He's
evidence.
vilifying the courts because he's in it as a criminal defendant.
No, JD Vance said, if we get a court ruling we don't like, my advice to Trump would be to ignore it and just be like, enforce it. Like that is an attack on the courts, just like the left are attacking the courts too.
100%.
Kamala Harris's whole thing about packing the courts and Biden's thing about packing, like this is nonsense. And I just don't like the delegitimization of these institutions just because we don't like something. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying, Jeff. But
check out the show notes for today. We'll have the link from factcheck.org where we've got the actual statements given by.
I was told there'd be no fact checking on this. I was told.
No, we said fat checking. We said fat checking.
Okay. So
sorry.
I read that wrong. That's on me.
Yes.
That's on me.
That's on you.
Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett said about Roe at confirmation hearings.
what's the quote?
Multiple Supreme Court justices lied during their confirmation process about their view on Roe v. Wade and well, I don't even know what the hell that word is.
I know that's not that legal word. I know what you mean. I know what you're saying, but I don't know how to say it either.
Those are the facts. Stare decisis, Latin for on stand by things decided, is a legal doctrine that courts generally follow when ruling on a similar case. In other words, it's already been decided. It's here. There it is. Somebody else did it. We're done. But no, they switched that too. Republican Senator Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, both supporters of abortion rights, also have said that the opinion goes against what justices had said. So the rest of that will be on the show notes. And
I just in general, I think that's where some fear may come from, looking forward type thing. Maybe it's not an immediate thing, but looking down the road, saying this may end up bad.
I feel like.
Do you have any abortion jokes for us, Jeff?
Oh gosh.
I do. There's one in my special, believe it or not. So,
not radio friendly.
Yeah, we should joke about killing babies. That sounds fun.
To be fair, it's not about killing babies in my special. I just say that my parents are so liberal, they're still trying to abort me. That's the joke.
That's a good joke.
That's a good joke. I think we hit a nerve with Blake there. By the way, you saw that really quick him change from defending Trump from the gays to jumping on us for abortion jokes. You see how fast that turned.
I'm just saying. I don't think it's a lighthearted thing. I mean, that's a funny joke, but no. It's not. It's not like people that pretend it's like this fun, glorious thing are ridiculous. I mean, it's outrageous that we don't
pretend that.
I see women celebrating abortion.
People do,
Yergs. It's gross. It's absolutely disgusting.
On the flip side, can we talk about the unfounded and yet constant talking points about the late term after-birth abortion that is unfounded in what they're saying?
Can we talk about triggered again?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you guys really want to get into the abortion thing, but I feel like we should probably talk about the election instead of abortion.
Sure. But I was just one of those things that when JD Vance or when Trump has talked about that, I don't like in general where politics has become unchecked because reporting has become entertainment over reporting.
Right.
And
exactly.
That started.
That's why we're boring here.
Yeah,
that's why we're boring here.
But the election boils down.
Speak for yourself, man. I just talked about sex for the past 20 minutes.
The abortion thing. Here's what I'll say about the abortion thing. There are lies on both sides of this, and honestly, like, my opinion as someone that's pro-life is that Donald Trump is not, like, we have no pro-life party anymore. There is no. Democrats and Republicans are now both pro-choice parties in difference of degrees, but not kind. Because Donald Trump is not, he was never He's not pro-life. He doesn't care about that. It was a transaction for him in 2016. That's all it ever was. So my point is we have two pro-choice parties now, and most of the rhetoric from either side is wrong. I think most of the stuff Kamala Harris was saying were lies about abortion stuff. Her story that she said over and over again about this lady that died left out the inconvenient fact that she died from the abortion pill. That's what killed her. Like, we need to actually have these discussions in real ways that talk about what the real risk and what the real tragedies are, instead of this like political points thing.
And I think that you're 100% right, Blake, and I do agree with you with that. And I think that and Jeff same is like the checks and balances of these conversations are more for entertainment, and then the facts are really left off. But I mean, I think that one thing I see that there's a thread between these two things when we're talking about gay rights within Florida, and Jeff wants to get married but he can't, and the abortion conversation is that there are different laws for different states that affect different people within the United States differently, and therefore you are marginalized depending on where you are. And if you can't have a unified healthcare idea throughout the United States, or a unified idea of who can marry who within the United States, therefore you are a different quality of a person. And I want to say that in a air quotes kind of thing, standard of a person depending on where you live and depending on where you drive through. And I think that is the theme of the conversation of what everybody's trying to say here. Now, if the standardization of abortion was a standard across the United States, which we thought we had with Roe, that's where everybody was like, we're okay with this. But now we see that people are weighted differently depending on if it's Florida, Ohio, Iowa, or California. And that's an issue.
And see, I don't think that's an issue, because I think that's how federalism is supposed to work. I think states should have more rights than they do. Sorry, that's the wrong way to say it.
This ain't the Confederacy.
What?
This ain't the Confederacy.
I'm not talking about the Confederacy. I'm talking about that's
local.
Totally different.
Get this on the right, on the camera here.
Slavery is different than abortions. Okay, it's like two totally different things. Owning another human being and someone having the right to kill their baby are two different things, in my opinion.
I mean, yes, of course. But then when do you put the idea of gay marriage as being a separate issue between California and Florida? I mean, that does make them or them, and I'm saying them because I'm not gay, y'all different between the two states, and that is an issue in my opinion.
Maybe
that is not federalism. That is saying you are different and you're weighted different depending on where you live. And that I don't think is federalism. That is not like you're taxed differently. That's not like saying, hey, we're gonna use our tax money for highways here, we're gonna do it for internet here. That is saying like you don't have the same value here as you do there.
Yeah, my problem with both of them is that I think we came to them the wrong way. Roe was not the Supreme Court's right to decide. That's not how our law is supposed to work. The Supreme Court is not supposed to be able to make a law. They're supposed to
wait. Before we go, time's up, Blake. I don't want to misrepresent and be an ally to the gay community erroneously. Jeff, am I saying anything wrong here or no?
Oh, no, not yet. I mean, you've been fine on everything you've said, I think.
Yeah, and I feel the same way about the Obergefell decision too. I don't think
hold on. We're going to lose 5 of our stations in about a minute and 40 seconds. So thanks we get another hour of putting up with this. If you want to, Jeff, you're welcome to. But we want to thank Jeff Klein for joining us today. Where can we find out more about you?
Go ahead, follow me on any social media at that Jeff is funny, and that's on literally every social media. And stay tuned for Fatty Gay. Be on the lookout for that. And you can hashtag Fatty Gay, and it's all out there.
I giggle every time you say it.
That Jeff is funny.
All one word. If people say it enough, it's got to be true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. If we haven't learned anything from the Trump administration,
yes, now that is the truest thing ever. If you just say it over and over again, eventually people will go, "It must be true."
Hitler never did that at all.
I think it even worked on Trump himself. I think that
he believed
some of this stuff. Yeah,
it's like that Richard Pryor joke about when his kid talked about not running through the living room, and he tells this whopper of a story, and Pryor's just like, "Dude, you came up with that. You're fine. Get out of here." Speaking of get out of here, we're going to be losing WDJY in Atlanta, WTAN and WDCF in Tampa Bay. We got WWPR coming up next. So we'll be back after a little bit. This has been Up the Middle, still is Up the Middle. We got another hour left. We'll be back right after this.
Smell nasty. Do you want to freshen it up a little bit? Go to aromabypeter.com. Check out all of Peter's candles. It's what we burn here in Studio Yergs. I'm burning right now leather scented candle. That's right, leather scented. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yergs and check out his candles today.
I'm Jane Stahl, retired English teacher, and with my BFF, Susan Bebeck, we manage Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. We showcase the art of hundreds of local artists, publish books of the poetry, prose, and art of local writers, offer classes, art parties, workshops, discussion groups, cater dinners. We've even hosted a wedding. And we're here to be the go-to place for friendship, learning, and fun in our community. Virtual tours of our exhibits are available right here on Yergs Radio. Let us introduce you to some amazing art and artists.
Check out Jane Stahl and everyone at Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Please visit our YouTube channel, Talk TV 24. How's your website doing? I'll tell you how mine's doing. It's awesome. Yergs.com is gotta be the best website for anybody in podcasting or any sort of broadcast solo journalist like me. How did I get that? Limit Break Digital. Limit Break Digital did my website with Yergs.com. They did YergerGroup.com. They take care of my marketing, my branding, and help me get the message out to you. Go to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs for 10% off your next project. That's a $3,000 site, Yergs.com. And you can get 10% off that by just going to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs today. Talk to Jay. That's my guy. We all got a guy, and Jay's mine. limitbreakdigital.com. Hey, gang, it's Yergs.
Who listens for 18 minutes. The average
Yergs.
fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given, I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate
Yergs?
Good point. The average hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common answer, I want to see what he'll say next.
Oh, sorry. Put those guys back there. Put those guys back there. There we go. So, you going to the gym after this? I am. I have no volume. There we go. I'm going to the gym after this. I'm going to what used to be Monster Mouse Fitness. Now, Momentum Fitness and Wellness in Bayonet Point and Jasmine Estates, Hudson, right on 19, just south of 52 by the Arby's. Although don't go to the Arby's. It's not how you eat when you go to the gym, unless you're packing, unless you're bulking. At 53, we don't bulk anymore. I'm bulked enough. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. They've got all kinds of upgraded and new equipment, new space, both inside and out. All you have to do, just walk right up to the door, scan the QR code right on the door. That's it. Just scan the code and you're good. And you can put together your own membership, but definitely talk to Anthony. Why do you want to do that? Well, Anthony's my guy, and now he's your guy. We all got that guy, and Anthony's mine. And and Momentum Fitness and Wellness is my place. If you want that Hernando Beach body, or you're going to Clearwater Beach, or St. Pete Beach, or what, we got to ask Jeff when he comes back out. Where's the gay beach down in St. Pete where I can wear Speedo? I got to get back into a Speedo. And Momentum Fitness and Wellness is how I'm going to do it. Please, Matt's like, please no. Please no. Jeff Klein, comedian, is joining us today. And then over there, down there we go. And we're talking about what went right, what went wrong,
I don't think we've talked about that at all.
Yeah, we should talk about the election. I feel like
we'll get there.
a good time.
Okay, here it is. I'm going to start it off. Okay, I'm going to start it off. Get us on track because obviously we can't. I got to be the sack in the room. So
be the sack. That's
I'm going to be
like a new motivational bumper sticker.
Just did a visual of Matt's sack. There we go. As I'm sipping coffee.
I've only got one testicle, if that matters. If you need to picture anything, Yergs.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, I had testicular cancer when I was 25.
No, do you have a fake one in there, or you just kept the
Okay, oddly enough, this is actually pretty funny. I joke. So I know my urologist. I grew up. He's like friends with my parents. My uncle grew up in church with him and stuff like that. And so right when I find out I have cancer, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have surgery, this week," and blah blah blah. I was like, "So
how does it feel? You're losing a nut this week."
I mean, this was literally it was like 2 days later I had surgery after I figured it out. They like to get cancer out of there as quickly as possible. And I jokingly said, I was like, "So do I get a fake one, like a rubber one?" And he was like, "They actually can do that, but it's a second surgery." I was like, "Why would I want to do a second surgery?" But they do have prosthetic balls.
Yeah, they have prosthetic balls, of course. Somebody has some reverb here.
I think it's
all right. That's great radio there. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
it was you, Jeff.
That's good. Am I better?
There you go. We're back.
Transformers movie.
Yeah. Okay, so wait. So you have one ball. You don't have a fakie in there. So you just have it's like a speed bag.
First of all, let's go ahead and I realize this is the worst possible group of people to survey, but my thought is I get if you have breast cancer, you want to get
2 gay guys and 2 straight guys.
Right?
Are you on HRT?
But hold on. Here's the reason why. What I'm asking is that if you lined up 10 naked guys on a wall and put either gay people in front of them or women, would any of them even notice the person that only had one testicle? Because is anyone looking at the testicles? That doesn't seem like something. Okay. Obviously,
I want Jeff's feedback. We have Jurg. Jurg raises his hand and says, "Absolutely."
Jurg says yes.
Yeah, he wasn't finished asking the question. And Mike went on.
Okay. Jeff,
this is the difference. This is why they don't call the guy in charge Sacks.
Yeah. Okay.
Sack. I just needed to get that in there. It's
for
probably
those joining.
I would
For those
notice
joining
it.
on WWPR. Earlier, I told a story about my time in the Secret Service. The Special Agent in Charge, SAIC, is pronounced SAC.
And it's been a joke all day.
And here we sit giggling still. So there you go.
So can we just get back to it, Jeff? Would you notice the ball or not?
Yep.
I think it's noticed. I think I would notice it. Would I care? I don't know. But I think I would. I think it's noticed. It might be noticeable.
You would maybe.
Well, I guess it would be less the service for you then, Jeff. Right? He makes the job easier.
Yeah, and I guess so. Instead of using a whole hand to fondle, you could just use a finger. I guess that's
I guess the reason I thought it would be not obvious to people is because I did not notice I had an 8-centimeter tumor around one of my testicles. So it's obviously that should have been more noticeable because I had a gigantic testicle. That's huge.
That's like the size of the testicle.
It's bigger than that. It's significant. Yeah. So anyway, but I was joking about that, and my boss at where I worked at Apple at the time, and he was like, "You should get a light up one, you squeeze and it lights up." And I was like, "Well, how do you change the battery?" He was like, "You use it sparingly." And I was like, "All right, that would be the best party trick ever." But no, I did not get a fake one.
May I also suggest a squeaky toy?
That would be fun, but that could get awkward.
A rubber chicken?
I don't
I think you're saying awesome wrong, but okay, awkward.
I feel like
he's trying to have some alone time. All you hear is a rubber chicken sound coming from the bathroom next to the tissues.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember how we got on this road, but yes.
We're not supposed to be on this road because we're supposed to be talking about the election.
So Matt, talk about the election now that we've talked about SAC.
Wait, are you on testosterone?
Wait. No, it doesn't really affect. Having one is fine.
One more question about Blake's very serious condition.
Yeah.
With only having one testicle, is that why your haircut is like a lesbian?
Yes, that is why.
It's to offset to the other side of where the one testicle is. It makes it symmetrical. I need you not to judge.
It actually is. That I had not thought of that, Jeff, but you now psychoanalyzed.
I could tell.
You can tell.
Counter ballast.
See, gays know. Gays know these things.
You do. Okay, Matt.
Okay. Here's my take. I'm as the
You guys
Democrat.
keep going. I gotta let my dogs out.
Okay.
Another, if you want to run with that.
Nobody
one too.
say it. If anybody says it, I'm leaving it. Okay.
I'm not. Go ahead,
Okay.
Matt.
Okay, so as a Democrat, obviously we've been sitting around here wondering what happened. And let's just say from the Democratic point of view, there was a $14 million undervote for Harris from the previous Biden election. Now we could say one of two things. I've heard that the Republicans come out.
14 million people, not dollars.
Yeah, 14 million people. What did I say?
You said dollars.
Tax?
You said dollars.
Oh yeah, okay.
People. Yeah.
14 million people undervote from Harris from Biden in 2020, and there's two narratives that are coming out. One from the Republicans saying that, well, it shows you that they're ballot stuffing. Okay, maybe not. The second one is
I've heard that way too much in the last few days. By the way, Matt, I can't believe how I'm still arguing with people about the 2020 election.
But regardless, is now we're here, and I think it shows you a couple of things. Number one is that the Democratic process through the Democratic primary was wrong. It wasn't that Harris might not have been a good candidate, which we could discuss that as well. I have my opinions, but Biden shouldn't have ran for a second term. Everybody was not happy about that going forward. I actually personally got in arguments with people not only on my team, as I was running for Congress, but also other people saying that I'm not happy about Biden. I don't know how to defend him on the campaign trail. I don't know how to talk about this. He shouldn't be running. And everybody was just like, you're being ageist and blah, blah. He shouldn't have ran. Second is there should have been a primary process. And without that primary process, I think that a lot of Democrats, and I think people that when we were talking about democracy and upholding democracy and hashtag save democracy, we weren't doing the thing that we said that we wanted to uphold, which was have a democratic process and through that primary process, elect the next person who's going to run to represent the United States of America. And I don't think that, I think that 14 million people were put off by that. There's other things involved with there, but I think that honestly was the start of it that didn't really get people involved again. And maybe a couple people flipped to the Republican side as well. But I think that is going to explain, from my point of view, a lot of the 14 million undervote. What do you guys think?
I think you're right. I mean, to me, I've been thinking about this a lot this week because honestly, it's more interesting to think about than the Republican side of things, because I really do think this was clearly an election. I almost said something else there. This was clearly an election where there was a full-throated, we do not.
What is going on with you?
What the Democrats are doing.
What is going on? An erection and full-throated? I mean, we're like, what?
It was very clear this was a rejection of all of Democrats. This was not we don't just dislike Biden. This was not just we dislike Kamala Harris. This was just an absolute wanting to push all Democrats at an arm's length and say, because you look at what they picked up. Donald Trump won 46%. I mean, now here's my caveat here. Exit polls, not very reliable, but it's what we've got. According to exit polls, Trump wins 46% of Latinos. He increases his support with black voters. He increases his support with young voters. He got more young voters than any Republican, I think, has ever. And
remember, Kamala Harris did not win one county more than Biden did back in 2020.
Well, and even for worse than that, on election night, CNN had a map up where they had, like, between John King and Jake Tapper, and they were like, "Can you let's show places where Kamala Harris is outperforming Biden from 2020?"
That's what I meant. Not one in the whole United States.
There was not one state where she was outperforming by 3 points or more, and there were only 53 counties in the entire United States that she was outperforming Biden by 3 points or more. That is an absolute just
failure.
Yeah, it's a failure. So I think.
Wait, hold on. What's Jeff's thought on that?
I have a question, and this is going to come to. I'm curious your guys' take on this, specifically you two, because I think at the end of the day we're going to see. I mean, you talk about Trump winning so much more of the vote, but the reality is, in the popular vote, he's going to end up almost at the same exact number he had at the last election.
But it looks like fewer people will vote in the election too.
Yeah, it's right around 74 million each election. So it's interesting to hear that he's picked up, but the reality is he's getting the same popular vote number that he had. And the big difference in this is the fact that less people voted for the Democratic nominee. I want to say I fully agree with Matt on the fact that I think Democrats made a mistake in you talk about and what I believe to be a real fear of due to the things that he said when Trump gets into office, will we have another election? And the rhetoric about that and the concern with that, but then you can't have that rhetoric and concern and then put in somebody for your nominee that wasn't. And so I understand that. I think that
the whole time, Jeff. Yeah, I
do think that caused some backlash, but just looking at numbers, if I am literally just looking at numbers, which I'll just give you the numbers that I'm curious about. Hillary Clinton got 65 million votes. Kamala Harris is going to end around 70 million-ish. And yet Biden got 81 million. Now, let's say it's not due to ballot stuffing. Is there a reality that, and hold on, hard take on this, everybody, strap up. Is there a chance that America is still sexist?
No, 100%.
No.
Yes.
No.
You don't think it has to do with a woman candidate?
Because here's why. Biden would have lost by more.
What?
Yeah. I mean,
agreed.
Look, Biden was getting absolutely. The reason Biden got forced out is not because we got caught being old and they were lying to us for so long. It's because he got absolutely just dropped in the polls. Like he was getting hammered. I mean, like Trump was sailing
because he had the one sack filled with actual balls to take it on a debate.
I don't care about his bravery, Yergs. He's too old to run, and everyone knew it. And the Democrats and the media lied about it for years. And look, I'm not. Look,
why are they not talking about it with Trump?
That's exactly what happened.
That's my issue. Yeah.
Look, and here's the thing.
They're not talking. Trump is no younger, and he's way more senile.
That's just not true, Yergs.
It's not true.
It's just not true.
It's not true.
You think that's all you want?
Okay, so here. Okay, so wait.
I on radio. Who gives oral sex to a microphone in front of thousands of fans and says, "I'm running for president"?
That's not dementia. that may be poor humor, but that's not dementia.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, Yergs. And
if you're a real politician, that's dementia.
Yergs, you can think all you want, but everyone knew with their own
Jeff,
eyes.
I told you there was some TDS in this room.
Yeah. They can watch Biden with their own eyes and see that
some of us call it common sense.
We've seen this happen with grandparents. We've seen this happen with parents. We know what it looks like. And look, if you mute the television, I agree. Trump says all sorts of crazy stuff. I think he has slipped. If you look at him in 2016 to 2020 to 2024, he does not have the same mental acuity that he did in 2016. But it is not the same as Joe Biden. Joe Biden shuffled out onto the stage. It looked hard for him to do so. We what did he say? The Medicare thing. We killed Medicare or whatever. It was so bad, Yergs. And so that's why I don't think it's sexism and racism, because Biden would have by more.
So I want to do two things here. Is number one, I do want to address the sexism and racism, because look, this is what's going to screw the Democratic Party. If you want to recoup the Democratic Party, you can't. This is exactly what you don't do. And this is what people were getting upset with the Democratic Party as well. When you lose, you just don't say, "Oh, it's because you're racist, or you're sexist, or you're this, or you're that." That's why it is, because it's your fault. And the Democratic Party has been doing this for the past 4 years of saying like, "Hey, guys, everybody's over here saying like eggs are expensive." They're like, "Well, you just don't understand the economics.
Yes,
you don't understand inflation. We brought it down. You don't understand the Inflation Reduction Act. That's what we did. You just don't get it." And if we keep talking down to people, this is what the Democratic Party is losing, is people, because you keep talking down to people and you think that their judgment is wrong because they are X, Y, and Z. That's number one. So you're not going to fix the Democratic Party if you say that. Number two, it's possible that a little self-reflection of error within a political strategy is needed here. Just because you put up a black woman doesn't mean that you necessarily should win because it's going to be the first black woman. She also has to have a candidate that is good. She also has to come into there in a way in a democratic process, and she can't come on the heels of an administration that has been talking down to people about inflation for the past 4 years.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, I think
I'm not saying that she should win because she's a black woman. I'd never say that.
Well,
didn't say
then you can't say then in the same
she's
breath
a
you
woman.
can't say it's because people are misogynist because she did lost. You can't say it.
Yeah,
it's
I
going
didn't
to
say that.
screw us over.
I didn't say that. I said that had something to do with it. I thought that was part of it.
Yeah, I never brought race into it. Just for the record,
But like Joy Reid and people like that have.
I'm just throwing that all out there. This is all issues that are being happened right. Yeah,
this is happening on MSNBC and on Slate and HuffPost.
I think Ari Melber by claiming this election is fraudulent is making a horrible mistake.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I hadn't seen that anyone was doing it.
Ari Melber on MSNBC is outright saying that Trump cheated, and this election is fraudulent. He's doing the same thing Fox News did back in 2020.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very bad move. I think that you will gain nothing from doing that. And
I agree. But I did not say, and I don't think that Jeff was insinuating that the sole reason she lost is because she's a woman.
No. I'm just saying I don't think it has anything to do with it at all.
When we let Jeff talk for a second, hold on. I got your back, Jeff.
I think there is an undertone in the U.S. that, regardless if we want to admit it or not, if we're trying to say it's just politics, I can say that there were missteps if I'm looking at the two women that were close to becoming president and owning up the missteps that both of them had and public opinions both of them have, I do think at the end of the day, there's still a reality of people voting for women to be in office. And I do think that the U.S., and I don't think this is a stretch to say, is still a patriarchal society and has a bit of misogyny built into it. I mean, I think that's just a reality. And I don't want to ignore that. I'm not saying that's the sole reason, but
Agreed.
When I look at numbers and when I look at what somebody else has to prove compared to another, I mean, I think it was pointed out I think Michelle Obama pointed it out at one of the rallies that they're having to run two different campaigns. Trump's not having to answer for things that Kamala Harris is having to answer to. I think there is a reality to a patriarchal society that exists.
I would say that you were correct if Hillary Clinton didn't get the popular vote. She won the popular vote. The fact is she didn't go to Wisconsin.
Yeah,
100%. I agree with that. But even back then, the stuff she was having to answer for and the way she had to act was different because she was a woman.
Bro, look, here's the thing.
Wait. I was there when she went off on the reporter for asking about the colors of her pantsuits.
Okay, but can we talk about something real quick? Did Nikki Haley get an unfair shake in the Republican primary because she was a woman, do you think?
I think Nikki Haley, and a lot of female Republicans are still brought up because of how they look. I think that is something that women politicians, AOC was made fun of because she was a bartender and she's cute. I think the fact that there's posts about Republican senators that are females in bathing suits at the beach. What I'm saying is there is a difference. 100%. And I think Trump had more white male voters come out this election, and possibly due to Joe Rogan supporting and Elon Musk and white male people.
He lost white support.
No, he gained more white males.
He lost white overall support.
There was one of the guys from. There was one of the guys from. There was one of the guys from Trump's campaign who did nothing but recruit men.
Well, yeah, but
his job. But what, Blake? We're not talking about sexism, but it's okay for this one to go just and recruit men.
See, this is okay. This conversation is I think is where we're missing the whole point of change. When you change something and you want to change something, to be honest with you, everybody is going to have to go over and exceed the status quo. And asking the questions of the difference is always going to exist. So, I mean, and this might be a horrible example. I'm going to try it though, and see if it falls flat. Elon Musk making Teslas. The EV before the Tesla, everybody compared it to a gas car. They were slow, they were ugly, they were crap. They had no range. There was no charging. They were inconvenient. You had to excel past a gas car to get everything. And everybody still dissed it. They're like, oh, those are stupid little cars, whatever. But it was faster. It was just as affordable. They were fun. They were high tech. He built out his own infrastructure. They charged quick and all this stuff. And so he had to make something that was actually better than the other car, and you still criticize it for even get his foot in the door. And the same thing happens with politics. Do you think Barack Obama didn't talk about him being black? His last name Hussein. There was the birther movement and all that stuff, but he had to excel past the normal, the standard that was set to make sure that everybody voted for him. You know what? He got in. Of course, everybody's like, and if he lost, they're like, well, America's still racist. America was racist up into that point, and now he had to excel and go even further. The same thing happened with Hillary Clinton. Of course, everybody's asking about her pantsuits and asking those stupid questions, but more people came out to vote for her. And the thing is, we can't keep saying it's because you're a racist or misogynist is why these people aren't winning. Sometimes you just run bad campaigns, and the things happen that way.
How many times did Jeff and I both sit here and say it? That's not the main reason. It's not the only reason, but it is a factor. Well, and until you acknowledge that it's a factor, you're not going to get rid of it.
Well, but here's my flip coin of that, though. I think the problem is that Democrats have decided.
Before you flip the coin, flip the hair to the other side.
Okay, like let's see if I
flip the ball on the other side too.
Okay, so if I can, here's what I think the problem is. Like, this is me. Like, I think this was clearly a bunch of different demographics of Americans rejected the Democrats. And I think it's because Democrats
100%.
have decided to silo everyone into their identitarian
100%.
politics. They speak to Latin people different. They had to have men for Kamala. They had to have this kind of person for Kamala. And they compartmentalize every group of people into their immutable characteristics, their skin tone, where they grew up. This is stupid stuff. I think people are sick of it. I think people want to be talked to as Americans. 100%. They're tired of being talked to as Latin people. Preach. They're tired of being talked to as black people, as gay people, as straight people. They just want to be Americans. Inflation hit everyone the same, whether they were gay, straight, women, men, Latino, Hispanic, Cuban. It doesn't matter, right? Like they felt those effects.
I think it hit me harder because gays get more massages than straights do.
Well, maybe. And so, the service industry jacked everything way up after 2020. So I think
Blake,
Democrats...
You're hitting me over here with the spirit, Blake.
Democrats have to...
Revival, Blake.
So Democrats have to abandon wholesale identity politics. If they do not abandon it starting tomorrow, they will keep losing elections, I think, because I think it's very clear that this has been a full rejection of identity politics, of the DEI stuff. I think that's part of Kamala's problem, is that she was a DEI hire. You can't say she was anything else, because Biden comes out and says, I'm going to pick a black woman as my vice president. And instead of picking someone that was qualified for the job, someone that had done politics outside of just like very liberal California. I mean, she'd never even talked to a Republican probably before. And now you're going to run a national race. I think that was foolish. So I think Biden gets a lot of...
You've never been to Orange County.
She wasn't in Orange County. She was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Well, I also think, Blake, I just wanted to piggyback off of that. I think the same thing.
It was in the whole state.
But California is
as it gets.
California is very, very, very progressive, very, very blue. She lived in that world her entire political career. She was a senator for only 2 years before she got
Tell that to Ronald Reagan and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wait, Blake, I want to say the same thing. I agree with that.
Governors of your blue state.
I agree with that, Blake.
That was years ago. That was years ago.
Blake. I'm going to agree with that. But you see, they did the opposite with Tim Walz. And that's what Harris did with Tim Walz, is they needed to have the adult in the room look and appearance, and they got him when we all knew that there was other people that were on the...
I think that was a bad thing too. I don't think Josh Shapiro would have helped her in the long run. I mean, that was my theory all along, was that she should have picked Shapiro. But since she lost all the swing states, I'm not sure he could have swung that a different way. I think basically my point is,
in the campaign, he was playing football with AOC on Twitch. Yeah, you tell that the campaign wasn't going well.
I said, is my microphone not on?
No, it is.
I just said that Jeff and I know people that swing different ways, and nothing.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Wait, I know somebody that has one ball in his sack that swings different ways.
Just one. So yeah, I think going back to Matt's point, Biden.
And by the way, that is a scientific conversation and medical conversation that we had. That's nothing obscene.
Right.
One of our hosts is testicularly challenged.
We've got an odd number between the four of us. So yeah, I mean, I think Biden gets all of it because it's Biden's fault he ran again. That's the reason there's no primary. It's Biden's fault that Kamala Harris becomes the de facto nominee because he chose her for no other reason other than she was a black woman. Because like I said, if you wanted to, Cory Booker would have been, if you wanted a minority, if like that was like absolutely a have to do kind of thing. I just think that people are tired of being compartmentalized into that kind of stuff. So I think Biden gets all this blame. He's the one that opened the border. He's the one that caused more inflation to happen, and people are rejecting that.
I hope that Hakeem Jeffries doesn't get pigeonholed as Speaker for life, because I think he would do an excellent job as well.
What do you mean pigeonholed? Like you don't
like you've never. When was the last time you've ever seen a Speaker of the House become president? Let me help you with that.
It's never happened, right?
It's never happened.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you give up more power for less power?
Well, except they keep giving up their power to the executive branch. I mean,
yeah,
over and over again, Congress keeps doing that. So
that's why Bono said he would never run for president, because he doesn't want to live in a smaller house.
I just think you can't. I think that all the crazy left stuff that didn't get rejected by Kamala Harris, it was just she might as well have embraced it. Like she was trying to distance herself from her positions in 2019.
This is when the host needs to come in, Yergs, and tell Jeff that he could talk, because he's trying to talk over us who've been talking to each other for over a year now. Jeff, please.
I just belched, so I'm trying to get rid of that.
All right.
No. I asked my question, and you guys emphatically answered.
Are we supposed to be asking you questions?
That you are part of the sexist problem.
No, I don't want to know about him.
No. No, I mean, I was just curious. Yeah, I was curious your guys' thoughts on that. But no, I think ultimately, the election came down to. I don't think. Here's the thing, though. I don't think Harris ran a bad campaign, considering when it started, what had to happen, the condenseness of it. Do I think that it got into it in a way that people were already off put by, and that it was having to overcome a lot? But like you said, she didn't distance herself enough from the people and people blaming Biden for things. I think ultimately one of our biggest problems in the nation is the fact that we're myopic in how we see how policies affect us. So, for instance, I think Biden this term did a lot of things to help the economy get back to where. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, and I rarely am, America's economy rebounded probably the best or one of the quickest of all major economies post-COVID, and that is something that Biden's administration and the current administration had a huge part in. Now, the reality is we're going to see a lot of that hard work in the next 4 years, which will be while Trump is president, which is going to show, which Trump will be able to take credit for. But that is a constant in American politics. When Reaganomics failed, it didn't fall on Reagan when it failed. It fell after Reagan so it is one of those things that, unfortunately, what happens in 4 years, a lot of that, and just like I talked about, to bring it back to a prior conversation about fear of what rights may be taken away later, it's not an immediate thing. I think that happens with the economy way more in the U.S. than we really admit to. And it's because we look at the forest instead of the trees. I'm looking at what things cost today. And I do understand that there's a lot of, stuff being set up to fix that, but that doesn't happen immediately.
But it won't ever. I think the prices aren't going to come down ever. Like that's just like, and anyone that pretends otherwise.
We just had gas in this area. I don't know what it is. You're closer to St.
I'm not talking about gas. I'm talking about everything else. We don't include gas in the economic inflation prices because it goes up and down.
Everybody's bitching about. That's what every maggot has been bitching about for the past 4 years, ever since it broke 250 and 275.
I'm not saying people don't complain about it. I'm saying it doesn't actually. It's not something we measure in the economic. When we look at the actual,
we should.
If it's not something that we measure, then tell people to stop.
But see, that's the. I think Jeff just made our point though in what he just said. He said that the United States economy rebounded better than everybody else, and instead of saying, "Hey, we did, but your life is still hard, and we're going to keep fixing it," the Democrats said, "You just don't know what you're talking about because we rebounded better than everybody else,"
and didn't own the fact that Biden's stimulus package caused inflation to be worse. It did.
Yes.
It's absolutely
not at 8.5% worse.
Yergs, Trump contributed to it, but he was
trillion worse, 24% worse.
Let me. I've laid this out several times. Trump spent way too much money even before COVID happened. He spent more than any other president. Okay.
What did he spend the money on?
On
tax breaks for his buddies.
And so here's the problem. Trump spent a lot of money, and then he spent a lot of money during COVID, and at least he was in the pandemic. Biden spent his money afterwards unnecessarily, and it caused inflation to rise. Every economist you look at says Biden made it worse. We would have had inflation for sure, but Biden's policy made it worse. To never own that is we all know that it happened, and he just pretends that we don't know what we're talking about. Just like Matt said, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. And she did the same thing. It's like, oh, well, it was COVID, blah, blah, blah. No, look, people know that things got more expensive. It was worse under Biden. Biden claimed he was going to be this normal bridge to the next generation candidate. And I'm going to go back to being a normal Democrat. And then he wasn't. And people rejected it. People were pissed about it. And so that's why I think Biden gets a lot of this blame. Now, it's not all Biden, because Biden was pressured by the Democrats in his party to do a lot of these stupid things. The fact that he didn't say no is his fault, of course. So the buck stops with him. He's the president. But the truth is, everyone now, Democrats and Republicans, love promising to spend lavish amounts of money on constituencies. So that's why Biden's trying to forgive student loans over and over again. That's why Trump is going to Las Vegas and saying, oh, hey, what if we didn't tax tips? These are things that are just pandering to voters.
Again, and people see, I think normal people understand this better than people think. It's like, okay, so one of the Harris's policies was, we're going to give you $25,000 for your first house. It's going to increase the prices of houses.
That's going to be inflationary. Yeah. And this
right?
is
you're going to cancel student loans. First of all, how many people who got pissed off about that because they, either paid off their loans or didn't take on loans, or, just say pay their debts. It was just promising all kinds of different things, and which is going to add to the inflation. Look, Jurgs, I just sent you a chart. Well, we got to be honest though. Because you can't send it anywhere else. You can't send it in the private chat here.
Yeah,
but everybody is spending more money. That's the thing, is our deficit is always up more and more. Right now, our interest on our debt is over $1 trillion, $1 trillion, which is almost a quarter of the money that we collect in taxes. And we put on $1 trillion in debt every 120 days. So look, these are things that people keep looking at, and we can't just say, I think as responsible Americans, we just can't say Biden spent this much and Trump spent this much. Everybody spent more. Since
that's what I'm saying. Everyone
the year since the 90s, everybody has spent more. Since Reagan, to be honest with you, everybody spent more.
And the truth is, the people that voted for Trump with his promising of these tariffs, I mean, those are going to be inflationary too. If he actually goes with the 10% tariffs across the board for all imports, that's going to wreck the United States economy. And we're going to get exactly what we asked for, because he promised it on the campaign trail. And this comes down to I do think voters are stupid, frankly, because this is some basic economic stuff. You can't just you can't pretend Trump is pretending he's going to be able to put 10% tariffs across the board on all imports, and we won't get any retaliatory tariffs, this won't cause economic problems for our manufacturers that want to send stuff outside the country, or the businesses that we have here that sell stuff outside the country. It's going to be a mess with Trump too. I'm not defending Trump in any of this stuff, but I am saying what people know, because this is how little people pay attention to politics, unfortunately, I think, is that they know that what Biden did hurt them. They go, I was better off 4 years ago. The truth is, Trump did not try to implement 10% tariffs across the board, but his tariffs were bad in the first round, but they were just on steel and aluminum. Well, now he's promising more. I think that there is a basic education problem when it comes to Americans and what they're voting. I mean, the NBC exit poll I saw that was the most shocking was that only 4% of the people said that foreign policy was important to them. This next president is definitely dealing with some serious foreign policy problems, because there's all sorts of conflicts going on right now in the world that we're going to have to deal with. And
just say it, even though we are not a part of it directly, boots on the ground. Just say the world is at world war, because it is.
It's close to it. I wouldn't quite go that.
The world's at different wars. I mean, world war assumes we're all fighting the same war.
There's everybody dressing in the same uniform like they did during World War II.
Well, I was going to
Japan, Germany, Italy, all some rendition of a red or an orange flag, because that's their team color. But there is an alliance between Iran and China and has been with the Soviet Union
and North
now,
Korea and Russia, all four of them.
and now Korea and Korea and Iran. And who's got boots on the ground in the Ukraine but
North
Korea?
Korea.
You can't say that this isn't a world war.
Right, but that's what I'm
So,
saying. I think voters are
in actuality, it is.
right.
And I think sending money to, and this is another show altogether, I know, but sending money and weapons to Ukraine prevents us from having to send actual boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, that argument, we have been, and perhaps still are, in a modern day civil war. In that we have been.
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. You saying here?
You guys fight over that. I'll be right back.
In the United States, I don't think we're in a civil war.
I want to hear what Jeff was trying to say this whole damn time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to ignore the Civil War part. I was going to ask, because you brought up a point about the tariffs with the economy, and then Trump's promise on tariffs and so on, and the average person not understanding. And I do feel like when he said that, I feel like there's a certain amount of his base and a certain amount of the population that was like, that's amazing, without realizing that the difference in cost is going to come back on the consumer.
Right.
That's the same thing on when, let's say, Democrats are saying wages, the average minimum wage should go up for a livable wage, and people immediately say, well, the company's not going to take on that cost. That's going to go into the cost of the product, which will affect me. But they don't think the same for tariffs. And what I'm curious about is, because I believe that that's true, and I believe that the general population doesn't know that, then my next question is, why isn't it okay for the Democratic Party to point out, no, you're stupid, you just don't get it? Because the reality is the population is stupid and doesn't get it.
Yeah, but I don't think we have anyone explaining this stuff very well to them anymore. I mean, Donald Trump can't do it. Kamala Harris certainly couldn't do it. Oddly enough, even though I think he's a lunatic, RFK Jr. is better at this than anyone.
Have Pete Buttigieg explain things to everybody. He comes back with facts. He's very well at explaining things.
He's going to be the next Democratic president.
I don't know.
I think he's overly qualified, and I think he's a great orator, and I love watching him speak on facts. But I don't think, I'll be honest, if I think the U.S. is sexist, I definitely think they're homophobic.
I don't even think you have to get that far. I think people don't like the elite, snobby vibe he gives off. I think that's the problem. I think he's smart.
But what happened to wanting the smartest person in the room? And I'm not saying, and I get the elitism and so on. I think George, getting into politics, I think George Bush Jr., GW, ruined it for wanting the smartest person in the room. And I think since that election, I think it used to be the president, you wanted the smartest person. And I think since then, we've just gone to, well, we want somebody we can relate to and we like. And I think that's what's helped Trump a lot and what has hurt the Democratic Party, because for the longest time, the Democratic Party kept trying to put the smartest person there. So, unfortunately, the smartest person comes across elite.
So can I give you my point of view of the tariff argument?
Yes.
Matt, what do you got with this? This is your diagram.
I'm doing something else now, though. That's what happens when you get a call from your SAC.
Don't send me stuff you don't want to talk about. What is this?
Well, I will talk about it in a minute. We're talking about tariffs now.
Fast-paced show. Keep up.
Yes, you got to keep up. No, so real quick about the tariffs. I think that saying, again, I think that this is another thing from the Democratic side and people who know things, instead of talking about the underlying issue, to say that people don't get it and people are stupid, again, is not going to help anybody's side when it comes to tariffs. What tariffs are trying to address, and I think and the whole idea and the ethos of this idea is saying that, hey, we don't make stuff here. Why are we getting the stuff over there? If we can stop and prohibit those things coming in some way by making them unaffordable to either ship over or to purchase, maybe you'll start making them here, is the underlying issue. And honestly, this is exactly how China grew. There's a couple of things that we might want to think about with this. China, when they were, trying to get their whatever, they were importing cars, they're importing steaks, they're importing stuff from the West. There was like 100% tax on cars coming into China. And then China went to the BMW and Volkswagen and GM and Ford and all that and said, hey, we won't tax your cars if you build them here. Build them here. And they put regulations that you had to keep money within the country. So not only did they get the factories, not only did they employ the people, not only did they build the cars, they also kept the money within the country. And so so I think that it's unfair to say people are dumb that hey, they don't understand how tariffs work, but they're at the same time saying that we need to onshore our supply chain, we have to build our industry, that we have to make stuff here in America and get those jobs that people remember it was our generation that had parents that went to the factories and raised kids and households off of those single incomes. Where did that go? Is it because of the jobs? Is it because of greed? We can talk about that all the time, but that was the underlying issue. And I think that if not addressing that is part of the messaging problem.
But I think that's also a Democrat problem, is that Democrats seem to have this like romanticized version of manufacturing in the 50s. And it's just like
everybody does.
Yeah, but it's a longing for something.
What are you talking about? Trump had the whole spiel on coal and coal miners. Right. Without talking about black lung.
Right. But Trump has moved that way too with unions and stuff like that. My point, but like traditionally, this is more of a Democratic thing. You're right. Trump's gone that way. Totally. You're right. I think the problem, though, is that like manufacturing jobs in the U.S. are below the average wage in the U.S. Why are we so adamant to get a bunch of jobs that pay less than the average wage in the United States? Why wouldn't we be trying to get higher tech jobs and stuff like that? My point is, it's just a stupid thing we talk about is manufacturing. And the truth is we make more stuff than we ever have. With fewer people, yes, but that means we're more efficient. That's a good thing. Like we shouldn't measure stuff based on how many people are working. We could line up every person in the world. I'm saying
that is the most unpolitical answer you should ever say. We shouldn't measure stuff by how many people are working. What the hell does that mean?
No, we shouldn't, because look, we could line up everyone in the United States, all 330 million people, and we could have half of them digging ditches and the other people filling ditches. They'd be working, right, all day long. We'd be producing absolutely nothing, and the economy would be terrible. And we would all be poor, and we'd all be dying. Okay, work is not helpful; it's output that's helpful. So what we have to be doing is like, how can we be more productive? Right. That's what the goal.
But at the same time, and part of this argument is that during COVID, there was a lot of things that still came out that we haven't flushed out of the American underlining issues that we think are part of the problem. When we asked for PPE. When we asked for PPE and we had to go to China for it and have it imported because we couldn't make it here, we had to convert some vacuum cleaner plant to make PPE. That was an issue that everybody was like, hey, we don't make things here anymore. And if we have issues, then we don't know how to do this. When we had to get it from Italy, when we had to retool other plants, when we had to do emergency procedures just to do the thing that is coming straight from China, when we figured out that we don't even have the machines that make the machines to make the thing here in the United States, we found that there's an issue. And so there's a whole
that lets you be efficient as a country at what you're good at and outsource the stuff that you're not good at. Like, we shouldn't have to build everything here. Now, China is a different situation because you're talking about, should we be importing stuff from someone that's considered a geopolitical enemy right now? So China is a specifically weird thing when we're talking about manufacturing. But as far as the whole world goes, and my general feel on trade is that we should do the things that we're good at and import the stuff that like we can get for cheaper from somewhere else. Like, I want to be able to eat fruit in the winter when it can't grow here. So I want to import it from other countries where it can. Like, that's a good thing that we can get the same groceries all year long in our stores. Like, that's globalization. That's the great part of globalization. We shouldn't demand that everything have to be manufactured here or be made here to be considered good. It's protectionist, and I think it's bad for our economy, and I think it's bad for us as a whole as a country.
I kind of want to agree, but I'm also going to disagree because it's kind of, I think if you take it down to a smaller scale of like your home, and then you're just going about your day, and then your pipes break in your house, and you call the plumber, and then your car has a flat, and you call somebody to help you change the tire, and then change your oil, and then you have to change a plug in your house, and you have to call the electrician, and then you have to
for everything,
and then you have to ask somebody else for everything, and then you realize I don't know how to do shit.
Well, no,
and then once you realize that, you go, maybe you know what? It's not the safest thing for me to not be able to do anything in my own home. I got to figure some stuff out.
When it comes to
there's a difference between knowing how to do it and paying somebody to do it. But if you don't know how to do it and you don't have the tools to do it or do anything within your own life, even maybe self-protection, balance your own budget, make a garden, paint your walls, you have an issue.
Okay, but let's talk about
you got to grow up.
Let's talk about sugar. We subsidize sugar massively in this country for no other reason than that they have a total stranglehold on Congress. Okay. Sugar costs us more than anywhere else in the world. Americans pay more for sugar because we're protecting our our United States sugar stuff with tariffs and all sorts of other stuff.
What was the name of your comedy show again? I'm sorry, well, I forgot.
Fatty Gay, but now I'm just pretending he's talking to me every time he says sugar.
Oh, okay.
I love sugar too, by the way. So here's the thing: we pay a lot more for sugar because we protect it as an industry. So a very small number of people work in it. We're just protecting it so this sugar industry can make more money off Americans. But Americans would be better off if we could buy sugar from other places. It would be cheaper. It would force those companies in America to compete. That's what I don't like, is that what protectionism does is it artificially inflates the prices of domestic goods because they don't have to compete with anyone else. And that's the problem. That's just a single example, but we could look back at the baby formula problem that happened a couple years ago. That was entirely our own doing. We're the richest country in the world, and we had babies that did not have baby formula because of our stupid protectionist baby formula stuff. We have crazy high tariffs on like countries like France and Germany and stuff. These are like very good countries. This is not like we're not worried that like this is going to be untested and come over and poison our babies. Like that's what I don't like.
Commercial break.
Yeah, I got to take a break because I got to tell you guys before we run out of time, not only where we can find Jeff, but also who, by the way, is going to be the recipient of today's Pierce Pot in promotion and paying homage to a guy I grew up listening to, is still on the air in Philadelphia. Pierre Robert, a 69-year-old hippie, been on the air for 43 years. And he does a thing where he gives a toast in the direction of a good citizen, as he calls them. Today's good citizen is, of course, Jeff Klein, comedian Jeff Klein, for having joined us for the past 2 hours. A toast of the morning sauce in your direction. Go ahead, do what you got to do. Yeah. Thanks for joining us today, Jeff. But also, that is shop. No, what is it? I got to look at the actual other display that I got over here. Buyblacket.com. Wednesdays, now that it's coming in, stop the private chat. You're distracting me. Now that it's coming in, the Trump administration is on the way back. We have a Trump translator, a frequent guest of Up the Middle. Philip Blackett will be joining us Wednesdays for translating Trump on Up the Middle. And he has his own website where you can buy whatever you need to buy to get your message out. I got to see this on the bigger. There we go. There's Jesus. And I'll get that $15 mug in a heartbeat. I'll order that today. Did you see this one? Look at this. Look at this. Easily distracted by wieners. Hello. Nothing. I got a chuckle. There it is. What else do we got?
You can get it in extra large.
Yeah, see, there you go. Now you're thinking.
And you can get it in black too. So would that be a BB? Never mind.
Easily distracted by black wieners. There we go. Does this shirt make my bass look big? All First Amendment type.
I see what they're doing.
Yep. And I don't know, Freedom Ride. I don't get that one, but it's a red, white, and blue guy on a bike. So that's something I would wear in the ski. Yeah. Maybe we can like create our own. Because I'd wear that long sleeve thing. I wouldn't wear black because this is Florida. It's not for that reason, but because it's black and it's hot. Sorry, I can't. I have plans with my cat. There you go, JD Vance. Anything in here about a sofa? I flexed and the sleeves fell off. You get the idea. Tough enough to be a teacher, crazy enough to love it. We got to see if we can like have our own things made. I like this one for coffee lovers. Okay. All I need, coffee and my dog. That's for me. American by birth. Beer is calling and I must go. There we go. So Philip Blackett joining us Wednesdays. Oh, what's that? I saw the red and the green. Remind me. There we go. Beer Mobile. What else? Beer broke. It never my heart. I don't. Oh, beer. It never broke my heart. There we go. Gotcha. Anyway, you can look at that at buyblackett.com, and there will be, I don't know his format for that, or here's one info. Oh, that's his ambassador. Okay, so we're going to be an ambassador to buyblackett.com. Give it a second so I can actually fully apply for this thing, and it's either going to be a code word or /Yergs or something like that. We'll figure it out. But definitely. And then tune in Wednesday, 11 a.m., when our Trump translator, Philip Blackett, joins me to help figure out life. 12:55, it is time to start wrapping up. We got to get to, got to thank, I need a producer so I can have somebody put these overlays up here for me. I don't have to constantly, there we go. Got to thank Jeff Klein. You can find anything about his new. All right, let's put that up too. Where's it at? There we go. His new special coming out this year, sometime. As soon as I get it on the damn screen. Goddamn, where is it? There we go. Fatty Gay. Now where the hell?
Well, it just feels rude when you say it, and I don't know why.
I know. Like somebody actually put some thought into it or something. This is such a pain in the ass. There we go. God. Fatty Gay available. Just look at yergs.com. We'll get more information on it as soon as it's all available because we'll be selling it. What is next week? Matt, you froze again. Goodbye. That might be. Oh, he's got to go. Fatty Gay, check for more information at yergs.com. We'll be selling that for him. The dude's a funny dude. So,
and now I want ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. It's Friday. Go get it. Have at it.
Hey, I'm hoping I can feel better later today and have some ice cream. I've not been eating any of the junk. I've not had a sugary drink all week, Yergs. This is.
You had your once every 4 years flu.
Yeah, or whatever.
And now you still got something going on. What's up with that?
I don't know. I think I had a stomach bug and a sinus infection simultaneously. So I got over the stomach bug part, but I'm still dealing with the infection post sinus surgery too. So it's even less fun than normal. So I'm trying to get over it.
So you had the sinus thing. Did that work for you?
It was feeling quite good. I mean, I'm still very swollen and stuff internally from it. But I think it's just unfortunate that I got like a bug and an infection in there. So I'm back to.
Can you blow your nose when you have that whole recovering from all this?
It was like a week of not really being able to breathe through my nose, and then as it cleared up, and I was doing like 8 sinus rinses a day that first week, and
wow.
But by Monday, I was like breathing great through my nose. I felt pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I'm still swollen. I still have some gunk and stuff, but then Tuesday I just woke up and hit me like a brick. Just felt terrible. So I've had headache, like waking up in the morning, going to bed at night, and even just like sitting here talking with headphones in for 2 hours is like my head is throbbing now. So I'll go take some ibuprofen.
I can imagine. Well, get out of here. I'll see you next week too.
Yep. See you, Yergs. Nice talking to you, Jeff.
Jeff, do you have any dates coming up? Where can we see you?
If you're in the St. Pete area, actually, next Friday, the 15th, I just got put onto the Unholy Comedy Show downtown St. Pete. It's a show that my friends Hugh Carey and Lauren Gray run. Hugh Carey.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great show. It's a show of debauchery and comedy and tarot reading and irreverence. And at a time right after the election, I think it's going to be a real fun moment for everybody. So downtown St. Pete, co-headlining that with a guy named Dick Roos, who's super funny. the Unholy Comedy Show. That's the next show I'm on, and then I've of course got stuff coming up December. I'm in Paris, Florida, and then I'm booking things out for on the road. But special coming out soon, and of course, that Jeff is funny on all social media. Instagram, I'm on the most, but everything just slice of my life and what's going on in it. So
yeah, check out. I'll get more information for your headlining event next week, the co-headlining thing next week, and also about the video special, so we can sell that for you. Everybody else can find out updates on that as soon as Jeff and I work that out at yergs.com. And then, of course, any of his social media. That Jeff is funny. All right, gang, we're wrapping up. We got about 10 seconds. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Jeff, thank you again. Looking forward to having you back sometime very soon. Best of luck to you when you go on the road. Be safe. And that's it, gang. We will see you again Monday. Great show.